to subscribe. Everything's a little shaky up first, obviously. I know it's not the best quality. I know it's not the best intros yet, but we gonna work on that YouTube. What's poppin' with you, baby? We back with another episode on the CrocPot podcast. And another week where we gotta talk about Browns football. And another week we have to talk about another L because Kevin Stefanski has done it again. Baker Mayfield has done it again. Nick Chubb has not done it again because why? Kevin Stefanski, you guessed it. Um, is this Stefanski's is Stefanski on the hot seat? Is this Baker's last game? Ben, obviously, is this his last game? I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about. What the heck happened yesterday? I don't really know. Do you know? Because we need to figure this out. We're gonna go over Baker Mayfield's press conference. We're gonna go over Kevin Stefanski's press conference for today, and we're gonna try to figure out some things. Um, First things first. Yesterday was arguably one of the worst games I think I've ever watched, and it didn't mean anything. So I don't even know how that's possible. How something could be the worst thing that I ever watched, and it meant absolutely nothing. But what I witnessed yesterday was a complete. It was like. It was like. It was almost like passive aggressive with like just actions. Where like, cause someone asked today if I think it was uh uh Phelps on the Phelps show, Baskin and Phelps show on 92.3 today. I think they asked Mary Kay if Stefanski has an ego, and she said no, she doesn't think that he has an ego, but I don't know, like something. You can't tell me he doesn't have an ego because what I'm witnessing on the field, you cannot tell me that ego's not playing at a or ego or vengeance or a spite, like out of spite. Like there's something was there because it's almost like he was like, okay, well Baker, you think you're the best, you think you can do this. He probably doesn't like being thrown under the bus a couple times that Baker threw his shots. He's like, all right, well let's put the game on your back and let's see what you're gonna do with it. And that's almost what it looked like and what it felt like because yesterday just although it looked exactly the same from the past previous 5-6 weeks that we witnessed, it just it didn't seem like it seemed like they were playing a game inside of a game, if you know what I mean, if that makes any type of sense. um Tyler, what's up, bro? Brandon, what up? Phono, what's good? They should have kept it handing it off to Chubb. That's the exact thing. Oh, I gotta update the date. You're right, sorry about that. Like I said, it's a work in progress here, man. It's a work in progress. What's today? The fourth. Um. So yesterday was just a terrible game to watch. We had to stomach through all of the bull, the terrible timeouts, all the drop passes. Nick Chubb rushing for 40 right out the gate, and then not seeing it. Apparently, he had a rib injury. But if he had a rib injury, why was he even playing if he had a rib injury? The game meant absolutely nothing. So that's another thing that we can blame on Stefanski. And, all day, I made some TikToks today, and all day, every day, in the comments, Baker's a problem. Baker's a problem. You're crazy if you think Stefanski's a problem. Stefanski's this. Stefanski's good. Stefanski's fine. It was like, I clearly see where a lot of the fans stand because not one person thinks that, I mean, I shouldn't say not one person thinks that Stefanski's a problem because it's a very minority group. But holy crap, the amount of people that just think that this is 100% sold on Baker. I'm sorry, does Baker have the final say so on if he plays or not? No, that's the coach's job. And if Baker Mayfield, an injured Baker Mayfield at that, is calling the shots on whether or not he has the final say so on if he plays or not, well, holy crap, that's another red flag in itself for coaching. Um Time and time again, you can go back, you can point to numerous of games where, yes, you can point out Baker, and yes, you can point out Stefanski, yes, you can point out the defense, but I just think the big bulk is just, I'm going to harp on it until we get real answers, until we really know what's going on, and I don't think we'll ever know what's really going on, and I'm going to hold this season at Stefanski's feet. You're the coach, you're the leader, you found zero ways to put your team in a position to win. You didn't go you didn't play to your strengths, because your strengths is the running game, and every single time we got the running game going, you seem to abandon it. So you can't sit here, and you cannot, no fan can sit here and tell me that Stefanski did everything he could to put us in position to win, because that would be the furthest thing from the truth. Is Stefanski sabotaging Baker? It sure as hell seems that way, doesn't it? It sure as hell seems that way. No one's giving Baker any excuses. Baker is what he is. Could he be 100? I think he's 5 times better than what he was. I mean, when he's healthy, than what he was this year, because Baker isn't that bad. Okay, like let's get that straight. No matter how bad we think Baker is, he is not that bad. Okay, you can win with a Baker. He's proven that he can win in a playoff game. He brought a franchise that was begging for a quarterback for decades, right? So is he an elite quarterback? Is he a top 5 quarterback? Is he a top 10 quarterback? No, he's not. That's just what it is. But can he be a top 15 quarterback? Yeah, he can, because he's shown that before. And just because we got one bad season of just pure trash to go off of, that doesn't mean that he's garbage. But that doesn't mean the Browns have to stick with this man for next year, because something's got to change next year. Whether that be quarterback, really 3 things have to. There's going to be 3 things that happen. Either Baker's coming back to play another year, Stefanski has to give up the play calling, or you have to get rid of Baker. Those are the only 3 options. You cannot go in with the same exact thing as this year, because if you do, oh my God, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season. So I think the real question is, what is Andrew Berry? What's Andrew Berry's thoughts? What is he thinking? Because he's the one, like, really I think this is his game now. Like, before it was like, okay, we're counting on Stefanski. Okay, well, what is Andrew Berry gonna do? Is he gonna come out and throw people under the bus? Like, is he gonna give us any type of information of what direction they're gonna go? Because I think as fans, I feel like as fans, with all the expectations that were surrounding this season and all of the hype that came with it, I feel like at the very least we deserve some type of answers, some type of direction, some type of, just give us something to sit on, other than, yeah, we're going to take a look at it and we're going to exert all options and all the information that's given to us. We'll do what we can with it. No, bro. You've been saying that for too long. I know you're going to go through it. You're an analytic guy. You're going to go through every piece of information you can. So I need Stefanski. This is where Stefanski, Jimmy D, they come out, and we need to figure out what exactly is going on, right? They need to give us something. Luke, what's up, bro? Kevin has a Pro Bowl running back, a former Pro Bowl running back, and barely used Chubb. He made Baker play through injuries and makes him pass 30+ times in a game with a torn labrum. Exactly. Here's what I like this Sunday. If we try, we can prove if Kevin sucks at play calling or Baker isn't a franchise quarterback. Andrew Berry did tons of 1-year deals to win now, but they didn't. Andrew Berry has a lot of stuff to do these 2 months. But, it's like, I love how they operated as far as the way that they did, because it's like, if we do take a step back and look at the bigger picture, Andrew Berry has been talking with his contract signings. He's put people under contract. He's signed the people that he's wanted to sign, right? Our line is under contract. Miles is under contract. Chubb is under contract. Jarvis is he's got a whatever, but he's got a lot of money. But they drafted these young guys that they really like, but the key guys that we need to have under contract are under contract. Who's not under contract? Baker. So that, I mean, like, there's a bunch of things where they've been telling us little things, but now I need the real information. Tell me something, right? All right. It's your boy Hatch, the Ultimate Steeler. Oh God, man, you get out of here, man. How you find the YouTube, baby? How you find the YouTube? Hey, I appreciate. There's 18 people in YouTube right now. Y'all are all goats right now. I appreciate each and every one on the YouTube. Everybody that's vibing in the TikTok, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all are OGs. Just know we going up. Hey, we are going up. But let's get into Baker Mayfield press conference right now. This is yesterday's press conference. We'll go through this, dissect it a little bit. Hey, Ron, you still in the chat? If you are still in the chat, let's load you in on Discord, and then we'll get you in, and then we'll go through these interviews, and then we'll bring you in. So let's switch this over, and let's wait a minute. My bad. Let's switch this over. And we are going to listen to Baker Mayfield's press conference. It's 8 minutes long. We're going to listen to the whole thing. I'm not going to stop it. We're just going to run it through, and we're going to listen.
Baker, I guess let's just start with, sacked 9 times tonight. And why was there so much difficulty kind of keeping you upright and keeping you clean throughout the night?
Obviously, their front's pretty good. Yeah, has been for years. But when you got TJ Watt over there and we're not giving our rookie tackle a whole lot of help, it's not going to be good for him.
I said I wasn't going to stop it. I had no clue that was right off the bat. He went for that gusto right off the bat? Oh, wow.
And
wow. I didn't know that.
Outside of the sacks, did you still kind of, I guess when you get that touchdown to Harrison, did you kind of still believe you could maybe lead this team to a win?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it comes down to the onside kick and getting another opportunity to get the ball. Yeah, I mean, it was a rough day overall. A lot of
it's
bad
quiet.
Just not a very pretty day.
Thank you.
Better.
Thank you, Dan. Next up, Mary Kay Cabot.
Baker, it just seemed like, you were having to battle from the start with, drops right on the opening drive, to batted passes to the sacks, one thing after another. How did you, kind of keep going through all that when and be able to pull it close at the end when it just seemed like it was just a constant struggle to get basically the help that you needed?
She takes a picture.
Come on with
and
this.
in that picture,
I didn't even hear what Mary Kay said.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not going to always be pretty or smooth, but I'm a fighter. If anybody ever questions how much I want it, just turn on this tape. It wasn't pretty, but I kept going, kept swinging. That's who I am, and that's what I've continued to be. That's how I've always been. So I don't really have much else for you.
Are you glad that they didn't pull you out of there just, for safety reasons? Are you glad you had a chance to try to pull it out in the end?
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity to win. I'm an extremely competitive guy. I think you guys know that. But I think now it's time for me to start, looking at what's in the best interest for me and my health. I've continued to lay it out on the line when I haven't been healthy and tried to fight for our guys. And right now, I'm pretty damn beat up, to be honest with you. There's no way around it. I gave it everything I had tonight.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Miles Garrett is headed to Zoom Room 2 now. Our next question will be from Jake Trower.
Yeah, Baker, does that mean that you're looking at not playing next weekend?
This was a huge part right here, too, guys.
From the playoffs and get a jump start on rehabilitating that shoulder among the other injuries you've been dealing with.
That'll be a discussion I have with, my agent and my family. So I don't have that answer for you right now.
Thanks, Jake.
Bro, Baker's gone,
Go ahead.
guys. Baker's gone, guys. I hope you guys know that. Like, I'm gonna stop it right here. We're 3 minutes into this Baker Mayfield press conference from yesterday, and I as a Browns fan, as a guy who loves Baker Mayfield, I've been hard on Baker this year. I think part of me thinks that he knows that I've said a lot of bad things about him. I feel like he knows that. I feel like the team knows that I've said bad things about them, but that's just because I'm gonna keep it a bean, right? But I love my team. I love my players. you can just see in his face. Look at his face, guys. Look at his face, man. He wants out. I 100% think he wants out. And I also think that he knows he's gone, bro.
Baker, yesterday, obviously, things didn't go your way and you guys were eliminated from playoff contention. So what was it like going through that and trying to get through this game? What was just the state of mind coming in here after going through yesterday?
I mean, it was just another opportunity for us to compete and try and come out with a win. Obviously, at that point, we were fighting to have a winning record by the end of the year. Obviously, didn't happen. That's where we're at right now.
And, I know we've talked about this before with you and the shoulder and surgery. Are you to the point where now you're expecting to have the surgery? And the reason I ask is because if you're going to talk about next week, obviously you could have it sooner than later, if you ended your season. So where are you with that?
Yeah, I've made the decision. We've had discussions that I am going to have surgery. I am going to get this shoulder fixed and, be able to come back next year at 100%.
Baker's going to rip the league up if he goes somewhere else, bro.
That's been decided. Now,
I believe that.
That has not been decided.
Maybe not rip the league up.
I don't have that answer for you regarding next week.
If Baker goes somewhere else, bro, he's bouncing back.
You're up.
Hey, Baker, was the plan all week to come out throwing as much as you guys did?
Good question.
It's a little bit of give and take, trying to get them into their big personnel and spread them out and throw it. It's just they didn't rush a whole lot when that was the scenario in the quick game stuff, and just stopped rushing and batted a lot of balls down. So, they got us pretty good.
When they do that and bat all those balls, like, how are you supposed to, avoid that or compensate? What
Jason,
can you do?
Chill, bro.
Sometimes when I can see them blatantly, just waiting for a pass to put their hands up, I could kind of change my arm angle. There was a few times that I had to, put the ball a little bit behind these guys just to get around them. But some of them, these are timing throws that I have to be on time. I have to put the ball in the right place and let it fly. And so a lot of those were due to that.
Thanks,
I feel
Scott.
you,
Bailey
Barber.
Burmaster's next.
Barbers, I feel you, bro.
Baker, the word frustration has been used
You better
multiple
pump.
times the last couple weeks, and even body language from players on the sideline look lackadaisical at times tonight. How has that frustration set into the locker room with relationships and maybe even at times in play calling and with communicating with Stefanski?
Whoa, was this a good question? Did I miss the question? That sounded like it was a good question.
Communicate relationships at times tonight, couple weeks. Baker, the word frustration has been used multiple times the last couple weeks, and even body language from players on the sideline look lackadaisical at times tonight. How has that frustration set into the locker room with relationships and maybe even at times in play calling and with communicating with Stefanski?
Yeah, today obviously was extremely frustrating just because we're going out there knowing that we're eliminated from the playoffs. So guys are just going out there for pride and heart and playing for each other. And there's no other reason why we would go out there and do it besides to try and get a win with each other. And so that it's frustrating when it doesn't happen. When it comes down to it, we obviously know our season's over after next weekend. And it's just a matter of fact now. This is our job. So guys have to handle it correctly. Guys have to show up to work and do their rehab, show up at meetings, pay attention, be locked in. Guys have to be pros. And
Is Baker going to be on the sideline this weekend, guys? You think?
If they don't handle it correctly, I wouldn't expect them to be around for very long because that's just a part of being a pro and being there for your teammates.
Thanks, Bailey. We're going to take two more, Cam Justice and Dan Lobby. Cam.
Hey, Baker, when you're in a game like that and you've got the situation that you're in and it's kind of piling up and you're looking for that help, like you said, with your rookie tackle situation, what do those conversations on the sideline look like in game when you're trying to make those adjustments and call for that help?
just a matter of looking at the game plan and what we like and seeing if some of those plays are adjustable to be able to bring just a little extra help chipping him or staying people in protection. Just discussions on the fly, which this is in the NFL, you have to be able to adapt mid-game. And we didn't do a good enough job, as you can tell.
Why was this not talked about on the radio today?
Thank you.
In the NFL, you have to be able to adapt mid-game. And we didn't do a good enough job, as you can tell. On protection. Just discussions on the fly, which this is in the NFL, you have to be able to adapt mid-game.
Is this a shot?
And we didn't.
Is this
do a
another
good enough
shot?
job, as you can tell.
Thank you, Cam. Last question for Baker. Dan Lobby.
Baker, you mentioned the right tackle situation and how beat up you are. I guess I'm just wondering, do you believe that tonight and really all season long you've been put in the best position possible to be successful?
I'm not going to get into too many details about that as a full season evaluation. We've obviously been pretty banged up. I believe in James. This isn't. I pray to God that you guys don't spin this into something where I'm criticizing James Hudson. That's not what I'm doing. We're talking about an all-pro that he's going up against, and he's hasn't had very many starts. So I'm proud of James. He kept swinging. He kept fighting. Now, when it comes to what we've had to deal with all season, there's been a lot of ups and downs. Do I believe I could play better? Absolutely. Do I believe there's positions that we as an offense could have been put in that are better? Absolutely. There's so many critiques throughout the year. If there wasn't, we wouldn't be sitting here at 7-9. So it is what it is.
Wow. That's crazy. I actually did not hear that today. Is it really his last game as a Brown? Bro. I think it is. I think it is. But he's saying, but see, this is why it's so hard to like put these pieces together, because it's like no one likes Baker, right? But he's saying exactly what we're all thinking. So is Baker just as crazy as we are? Is Baker just as crazy as we are? Because he thinks that we can't make in-game adjustments either. We know that. I think Baker's done, guys. And what if it's not Baker? I actually like Baker not pulling punches, speaking his mind. I do too. I just think that this season was not the fair shake that we wanted. Because Baker's going to go somewhere. If Baker, okay, well, New England's out of the picture because Mac Jones turned out to be the guy. But like, imagine if a coach, honestly, Sean Payton says he can fix Baker. Can you imagine if Sean Payton fixed Baker? And he took New Orleans to the Super Bowl, bro? I mean, I can see it so clear. It's almost like there's a crystal ball playing in my head. Like, Baker's going to get his shoulder back. He always plays the best when his back against the wall. He's going to be to a new team. Everyone's going to write the ship off on him. And he's just going to come back, and he's going to be Ryan Tannehill 2.0, but probably better. Too short for real. He's the same size as Drew Brees. Bro, this is going to be this offseason might be more exciting than the season. All right. We're going to listen to the Ron, get ready to go into the Discord call. We're going to listen to a Kevin Stefanski, and then we're going to bring my boy Ron in, and we going to rap. We're going to rap a little more. So this is the Kevin Stefanski press conference today. And today he was asked about the comments that Baker said about the chipping and helping, and I was surprised that Kevin Stefanski usually takes the high road, but today Today, I think everybody's fed up, and so is Stefanski because he said something that was definitely a shot back at him.
Okay, no real updates on the injury front from last night. Just like I told you guys last night, very frustrating night for us, disappointing in a bunch of ways, but weren't able to get it done, and it wasn't for lack of effort. We weren't good enough. Too many lack of detail type things, and it cost.
Whoa, wait, Aaron, you said you take Jamison over Baker. He had 14 touchdowns and 3 picks before the ACL, no shot, and he had that offense. Wow.
And it was really unfortunate. But we really got to make sure that we put this one behind us because we're on a short week, and we got Cincinnati coming to our place on Sunday. Baker won't play in this last game. We're going to hold him out. He's going to get surgery scheduled and really as soon as possible, so that he can get back healthy as soon as possible. Throughout this whole thing, have tried to make the right decision based on all the information available to us, constant dialogue with our medical staff, with Baker, all those type of things. And throughout, have really felt comfortable based on all that information,
no clue, bro.
That he was able to play and those type of things. So obviously frustrated for him, but just felt like that was the right thing to do for right now. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Coach. First one will be from Tom Withers.
I like Stefanski, but man, it's starting to be hard not to like him. I mean, it's
Quicken Loans.
I love Stefanski, and I love Stefanski. Like just like I love Baker.
You may be shocked,
but man, right now I'm just.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. Kevin, in looking back, then, any regret in not sitting Baker for a longer period than he did get in terms of?
These were good questions, guys. Pay attention.
Yeah, Tom, I think it's a fair question, but I would just tell you, each one of those weeks and those days when we made those decisions, you're just going off of the information that's available to you. And that's information from our medical staff, from Baker, from the second opinions, those type of things. And then based on how he performed in practice. So that's kind of how we made the decision each week.
I appreciate that. In terms of, I know you'll have the entire offseason to evaluate his season, but just at first glance here, how would you assess how he played this season?
Yeah, what I would tell you, Tom, is really, I'll wait to talk about, reflecting on this season. There will be time for that.
Wow. What the hell? Bro, he didn't even, oh my God. It's a Baker Stefanski, it's a feud. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Because somebody behind closed doors loves Baker Mayfield. Somebody behind closed doors loves Baker Mayfield. Why didn't he answer that question? Why?
What I would tell you, Tom, is really, I'll wait to talk about, reflecting on this season. There will be time for that. Ultimately, I'm frustrated for Baker not to be able to finish the season and those type of things. But anything past that, I'll kind of wait to discuss.
Thank you, Tom. Scott Petrick is next.
Hey, Kevin, I know he hasn't had it yet, but is there an estimate on the timetable for Baker to recover from the surgery?
I don't have that information, Omar.
Okay. And then when you went back and looked at the game yesterday, what would you have done differently to try to limit the number of sacks?
Yeah, I think staying on schedule would have is probably the number one thing.
What the hell does that mean?
Just way too many 3rd or 4th and 7 and long. That was
wow, Barber. That's what you think?
And then we just it's always multifaceted, Scott. It's a combination of getting the ball out, of making sure that we're playing on time, that everybody's doing their job. So it just was again not what we set out to do in any way. And ultimately, that's something that we need to correct.
What kind of answer is that? That's such a dumb
Thanks, Scott.
answer.
We'll go to Nate
That's
Orr.
not even a.
Hey, Kevin, with Baker's season done, I know we've asked you many times, but now just kind of looking back, how much do you think the injuries, the harness, all of that affected his play?
Yeah, Nate, I think throughout, we've been pretty consistent. I think Baker's been pretty consistent with telling you guys how he felt week in and week out. I'm not going to say that all of that didn't affect it in some way. Of course, it would affect it in some way, but I think he's been pretty clear that he's been ready to go in these games.
And last night, Baker said about the decision whether to play Sunday. He said he would talk to his agent and his family. How did the decision come about? Was it just Baker deciding with his camp, or were the Browns involved?
Yeah, I think both sides very involved. And I think throughout this whole thing, Nate, I tell you, constant dialogue with Baker, like I mentioned, with our medical team, second opinions, his agent, those type of things. So just having conversations with his agent this morning and conversations with Baker just felt like that was the right thing to do.
Thanks, Nate. Dale
Look at his facial expressions, bro. Like, I'm a people person. I'm a people person. I like to read people. I like to get that feel. Look at his facial expressions when he answering this question.
So just having conversations with his agent this morning and conversations with Baker just felt like that was the right thing to do.
He's so full of it. Like, this is like a freaking a soap opera. Like, there's so much. I thought we were done with the drama, guys. I thought we were done with the drama, man. And we are right back to Cleveland Brown drama. This is so frustrating.
Thanks, Nate. Dale Ryder's next.
Yeah, Kevin. Just kind of piggybacking on that.
Dale Ryder asked some good questions too. I think
you guys talked extensively week to week about playing Baker. My question is, when you look back at this now, do you feel like playing him with these limitations put him and the team in a position where you guys could be as successful as you wanted to be? And I guess really what I'm getting at is the fact that the offense just really failed to produce for weeks at a time here.
Yeah, again, Darryl, I think it's a fair question. I think postseason, we can really look at the season-long performance and have those type of discussions. But like I said earlier, just each week trying to make the right decision for the team, for the player, for the players, plural.
No, Kevin. No. You slipped up, my guy. You slipped up. See, Mary, this is why I don't know if I believe what Mary Kay said about Kevin not having an ego. Kevin is playing tricks up his sleeve, bro. I am convinced Kevin is playing Baker's game, and Kevin is winning at Baker's game. Baker wanted to play a game. You know how the smartest person always in the room wants to be the smartest person in the room? He is the smartest person in that room. He played Baker's game, and he's winning it. He's winning. Bro.
Based on the information we had available to us.
And in your opening statement, you talked about the lack of attention to detail last night that was apparent when you
He said player. He said do the best. Hold on. That's why I stopped it.
The right decision for the team, for the player.
That's what he really meant. He didn't mean players. He wanted to say for that player, a.k.a. Baker. He's playing Baker's game, guys.
For the players, plural, based on the information we had available to us.
And in your opening statement, you talked about the lack of attention to detail last night that was apparent when you went back and looked at what took place. That didn't happen last year. You guys seem to, for week in and week out, really have that attention to detail. And so I guess I'm curious, where has that gone this year? And why, as this season has progressed, has it not come together on that side of the ball for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't make a general statement like that, Darryl, about a lack of attention to detail last night versus last season. I don't know that that's totally
You see how, look, when I tell you I'm a body person guy, look at how uncomfortable he is with these questions. This was a great question by Dale Ryder. He asked him exactly what we wanted to know. Look at how you can tell. Look at how he's moving in his chair.
Why,
look
as
at him.
This season has progressed, has it not come together on that side of the ball for you?
Look at him.
Yeah, I wouldn't make a general statement like that, Daryl, about a lack of attention.
This is why I
detail
needed to
last night
watch it.
versus
It's
last
so
season.
much
I
more
don't know if
telling.
that's
It's so
totally
much more
true.
telling.
Just last night, didn't happen for us for a bunch of different reasons. And we got to look at that postseason and really pull it apart and give a better accounting of it. But for now, I think it's really about what we're doing this week.
Thanks, Daryl. Cam Justice is up.
Completely just.
Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki.
Completely
and
just
we're
beat
talking
around the
about
bush on that
opportunity
question.
to learn to be an entrepreneur on the internet.
It's not about him throwing his team under the bus. It's not. He's not going to throw nobody under the bus. But he's the head coach. He asked him about his offense that he runs, that he calls the play for. He asked him why the attention to detail was so bad, why the lack of discipline was there. That falls on him. He don't have to throw his team under the bus. He don't have to throw coaches under the bus. But he has to answer that damn question. We need to know. This is your offense. You mean to tell me you can't? Why you don't have an idea why your team has zero discipline? You're the head coach. Period.
If you could start your question again, Cam, sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Last night, I think she's a plant. She asked some of the most annoying questions. Or wait, or is this someone else? I'm thinking of something different. He
Never
ran
mind.
a lot of
I'm thinking
empty
of something
sets,
different.
and that's kind of been the key all season. There's been a lot of that, and it seems to be set up with Baker's success in mind. But last night, the success wasn't there, and the empty set just wasn't working for you guys. Was there something that particularly happened that the Steelers did last night that changed that for them, considering last season it worked out really well when you ran that against them, and something that could have been done differently in terms of maybe Baker Mayfield or the other personnel you had out there to make that successful?
No, it's a good question, Cam. I think empty is something that we got into in the last few ball games versus them. Have had some success, early, had a drop, but then came back, or excuse me, prior to that, had a big play off of it. So they made plays. They got their hands up. They batted balls down. And ultimately, we just didn't come through with enough plays.
Andrew, I'll answer that in a second.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cam. We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot.
We got
Yeah,
4 minutes
Kevin,
left
for
on
the
this interview,
second,
guys.
Time this season, Baker Mayfield was pretty vocal in a
Oh,
public criticism
this is the question, guys. This is the question.
of the game plan or the scheme. In particular, this time about you guys leaving James Hudson alone too often, not chipping him enough, and whatnot. And then he also alluded to the fact that that yes, you guys could have put the offense in better position at times. So my question is, how do you feel about Baker publicly criticizing your
Mary
play
Kay,
calling,
salute
your
you.
scheme, your strategy?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I think it's just something when you don't accomplish what you want to accomplish, people are certainly frustrated. We'll always look at what we could do better. There were plenty of times that we did have a person in location to chip and those type of things. And then other times, protection held up and ultimately we didn't, whether it was we didn't get the ball out or guys weren't open or whatever it was. It's always a multifaceted type of thing, but that's our job to look at and try and find a way to be better.
I give our, if one thing that I can say about the majority of our team, right? The one thing that you can hang your hats on, they are professional. But you cannot tell me he didn't want to let it go right there. You could not tell me he didn't want to let it go on Baker Mayfield right there, because I'm telling you right now, he knew exactly what he wanted to say, and he did his best to not exactly say what he wanted to say. I'm going to just throw that out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, asked, Andrew said, do you agree with this, that the team did not play for Baker, or do you think it was something else? They talked about that a lot today. And quite frankly, I think it might be like, I think that plays a factor. But I think it's bigger than that, maybe. So, I I'm locked in. I wish I was there. No cap. Answer the question, Kevin. He not answering. He ain't answering nothing.
Do you
He
feel
ain't
like you
answering
did put him
nothing.
in the best positions possible this season to try to succeed? Because it seems like he's alluding to the fact that that could have gone better.
Yeah, I think.
Whoa, Mary Kay came back with back-to-back questions? Hold up. Did you hear what she just asked?
Do you feel like you did put him in the best positions possible this season to try to succeed? Because it seems like he's alluding to the fact that that could have gone better.
Yeah, I think for all of us, Mary Kay, I just think we were, at times as a team, we've been very, very inconsistent this season as an offense, certainly. So all things that we'll look at long term here once the season's over and have a chance to look at all of it. But certainly there's frustrations there.
Bro, you're not tricking me, bro. He's directly talking about he's directly talking about Baker.
Once the season's over, consistent.
He said our team's too inconsistent.
Find a way to
He
be
means
better.
Baker.
Do you feel like you
He
did
means
put him
Baker
in the best positions possible
was
this
too
season
inconsistent.
to try to succeed? Because it
He
seems
wasn't
like he's
talking about the
alluding
team,
to
he was talking about
fact that
Baker.
that could have gone better.
Yeah, I think for all of us, Mary Kay, I just think we were, at times as a team, we've been very, very inconsistent this season.
You look, body language chat. They need to make me a reader, bro. Body language chat. As he said that, his shoulders, bro, it all correlate. These are Ivy League guys, bro. They know how to public speak. They know how to hide certain things. If you don't got an eye for this type of stuff, you would just look at it and be like, he's just doing regular stuff, bro. These are all tells. I'm telling you now. He knows it. Baker's gone, guys. It's over with for Baker.
As an offense, certainly. So
it's over with
all
for
things
Baker,
that
guys.
we'll look at long
100%. I'm convinced now Baker is gone. There's no doubt in my mind about it.
Certainly, there's frustrations there.
Thanks, Mary Kay. Next is Jake Trower.
Kevin, do you expect Baker to be in the building this week?
I think they're working on when that surgery gets scheduled, Jake. So I'm not entirely sure yet.
So if he has
Jace.
the surgery this week, he'll go off and have it, obviously. If not, you expect him to be with the team through Sunday?
Yes.
You noted last night that you rested Nick Chubb in the first half due to a rib injury that he had. That we obviously played in the second half quite a bit. Baker said last night that he was really beat up. Really had nothing left to give. How do you reconcile limiting Chubb in that particular situation while also subjecting your quarterback to taking 9 sacks in a game?
Yeah, I think with all the guys, Jake, we try to make the right decision for each one of these guys. And you're right, that as guys are injured and banged up, we'll make decisions with them. With the quarterback position, obviously we don't want him to get sacked as many times as he did. That's the obvious statement. But we're also trying to put our best guys out there, trying to find a way to win. And ultimately we didn't get it done last night.
Thanks, Jake. We have time for one more. Tony Grossi.
Oh, geez.
Good point, Grace.
Okay,
Good point,
Kevin,
guys. These are all great points that I'm seeing.
When you talked about all these particular decisions on whether to play Baker each week, one of the criteria was how he looked at practice. So
This was a great question, guys. Pay attention to this question because it was a great question. I think the answer was trash, but this was a really good question by this guy.
We didn't get it done last night.
Thanks, Jake. We have time for one more. Tony Grossi.
Oh, geez. Okay, Kevin, 2 quickies. Number one, when you talked about all these particular decisions on whether to play Baker each week, one of the criteria was how he looked at practice. So can you go back and explain why he played in the Green Bay game, having not practiced for 2 weeks?
Caught him.
Yeah, well, quickly, because that was a couple weeks ago, but I think we were comfortable, Tony, based on his health, based on him having, a full season's worth of work and practice, felt comfortable with that.
Okay, the other thing is there was a report in Pittsburgh, I'm not sure about the credibility, that's why I'm asking, that Alex Van Pelt met with Pitt officials concerning a job with Pitt. Did the Panthers request permission to speak to Van Pelt, and do you know anything about that report?
I don't know about that.
Well, Well, what do you guys think? This was some of the best questions asked I have heard in a long time with press conferences, guys. It was great. I mean, I was so impressed, especially with Mary Kay. I was so impressed with Mary Kay because usually Mary Kay kind of like, you know, she kind of gets on everyone's nerves. Mary Kay did a hell of a job asking some tough questions. I'll just say that. I'll be the first to say it. Oh, damn. COVID looking at it. All right. Hey, Ron. I'm about to bring you in. I'm about to call you. Hopefully this works. You know me in Discord. You know, I don't know how to do Discord. So what I'm about to do right now, I'm about to call up my boy A Ron. We about to get him in on a voice chat. And we about to get the rapping. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go through some of these. Let's go through some of these comments real quick, because y'all been putting in the fire in the chat. Shout out to all the 41 people in YouTube. You guys are goats. Shout out to the 37 on TikTok. I appreciate all y'all. Y'all all goats. If you're on TikTok, you're gonna want to make the adjustment to come over to YouTube. Link is in the bio. We're gonna be going hard all year on the YouTube, right? So I need you guys to come on over to the YouTube. Subscribe to that, because eventually we gonna start ending these TikTok lives and we gonna have it strictly on YouTube. But for now, we gonna rock both. And I appreciate y'all either way. Y'all all goats, all right? Kevin Stefanski should be held accountable for letting the season go. I agree 100%. Easy A Zay, love the content always have. I will always be watching your TikTok. They're fire. So I'm gonna head to bed in the morning, but I'm hella tired. But hey, Hatch, I love you, bro. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Kevin didn't answer a damn thing, pretty much. I put your TikTok on my IG story. You're a goat. I feel like there are reasonable answers and reasoning, but after Baker's third pick that game, he should have been benched. Agreed. I like that question by Jake Trotter. Hey, bro, they all asked great questions, bro. The answer was bad, but you are also not going to sit your starting quarterback when you're looking for a playoff push. That was the other part that I agree. But the question the way that he lined up that question, Andrew, was phenomenal, because he put it in that perspective. He gave him the answer. He gave him the context that Stefanski gave the media, and he used it on him. And I just thought it was a great question. Kevin on that last question had to take a moment and think to not flame Baker. His face got red. I love how the media is making Kevin scared about talking about Baker, bro. You could tell Kevin was holding stuff back. OBJ isn't a superstar he once was. That whole thing is entirely on Baker by any means. OBJ has a big impact because he was getting double. Yeah, he does have a big impact on that stuff. Hey, Ron, you up in here?
I am. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's happening?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
You know, I'm just, it's a therapy Tuesday here in the land. Your Jets are quite frankly looking better than my Browns, or unless we're about even kill.
Let's calm down. The Jets, we've been getting beat by Tom Brady as long as y'all been getting beat by Ben. So I'm not trying to hear any of that.
I mean, that is pretty true. Hey, can you guys hear him? Can you hear yourself on your end, or are you using something? Because I don't know if it's playing through.
I have my AirPods in right now. I don't know if that's a problem.
No, I'm talking. I'll wait to see if someone replies. Can you hear the call, chat?
I was gonna say they might not hear me.
It could be on my end though. I probably have to fix it. I might have to fix it. I'm waiting to see if someone can say they can hear you. I don't know if they can or not.
I will keep talking at a reasonable level to see if anybody says anything about me being in the call or not.
It says you can hear me. Okay, we're good.
Word.
So, I mean, did you watch the game last night? And if you did, give me your thoughts and just break down a little bit in your mind how bad of a season this was for the Browns. Is this like rock bottom essentially? I mean, it's not, but does it feel? It feels like it.
So I want to tell everybody in your chat first, like just kind of where I come from. So as Zay said, I'm a Jets fan, so you're getting an outsider's perspective. Obviously Zay's an objective Browns fan. I'll give him that. He definitely he tells it like it is, but you're getting somebody who doesn't root for the team necessarily. You're getting that side of it as well. So from my perspective, I mean, I watched the game last night, and my thoughts were I was just watching a coach, that was forcing his quarterback to throw the ball 38 times, and he just got his QB assaulted when you have a team that has arguably a top five, I'll say a top five rushing offensive line, if that makes sense. So like they're great, upfront push. Now I know Chubb got hurt, but even when Hunt wasn't available, you guys have still been riding Dearness Johnson, and it seemed like he didn't even get that many carries. It was just like put the ball in Baker's hands and make him basically make the push to win the game. And not entirely on Baker. I would just say, Baker is hurt. He's obviously played up and down all year, and he's just being forced into a tough situation. I blame a lot of that on coaching last night. It was one of the poorest coach games I've seen, and I've seen a lot of bad coaching in my life.
So if you had to put blame for this season, would you put majority blame? Because obviously there's blame to go for everybody. You can point to the defense if you want. I think the defense was probably the best thing we've had this year next to our running game, and that was second because Stefanski doesn't know how to use our running game. So out of the big blame game, who you put the biggest percentage of the blame on, Kevin Stefanski or Baker?
If I was going percentage-wise, it's close. It's very close. I would probably say, again, I haven't seen all the Browns games necessarily, but just from what I have caught, I think Baker threw 38 times last night too. I want to say the team had 16 rushing attempts. And then same thing in the game, and I don't want to delve on past games, but game against the Packers, I think he threw another 39 times, and he had a bunch of picks in that game as well. So, I mean, obviously Baker hasn't been great, but what part of that is injuries? What part of that is the play calling has to be split up more? I'm going to say, oh, so close. I'm going to say 60% of the blame on Baker, 40 on coaching from what I've seen. Again, you get a closer look, but that's an outsider's perspective. Stefanski's not to blame, if that makes sense. He definitely should hold some blame there.
I think a lot of people would be in your camp, because from what I see on TikTok comments and all of that stuff, a lot of people are in the Baker camp, and I get it. It's like, he was clearly injured, but I'm not using any of that injury stuff like that. That's not gonna play a factor into what we witnessed because you're out there, and we have if you're that hurt like he claimed to be in the press conference. That's why I feel like I'm putting majority of the blame on Stefanski, because it's like you got to pull him regardless of what are the eyes telling you? And the eyes are telling you that he's banged up, he's hurt. There's no way in my mind why. Can someone get the real answer as to why are we paying Case Keenum $7 million if he's not more than capable of going in here and running the offense? Because we were hindered for 14 games of the year.
Yeah, so wait, so I get where you're coming from, but think about it from Baker's perspective on two accounts, right? I'm just saying. So, number one, he sits out with whatever it is, a labrum injury on his non-throwing shoulder. Do you not think at that point the team's going to say, oh, well, we're in the middle of a potential playoff hunt because the AFC North is kind of open and our quarterback is sitting out with an injury to his non-throwing shoulder? As much as you don't think the players think about that stuff like they do, and Baker is that type of guy that would be like, I don't want my teammates to think I'm not there for them in that situation. You know what I mean?
See, but here's where I have a problem with it. It's like I get that 100%, but let's fast forward. So I would agree with that all the way up until I believe it was the Arizona game when JJ Watt re-injured his shoulder. It's like at that point, there was already starting to be that question with the offense. It was already being like, okay, what's going on? So at that point, that's when you really should have had the question, okay, should we bench this guy? And then when we got to the Steelers game and we had every opportunity to go down there and you could tell Baker Mayfield was injured and not looking his best, I mean, there has to be a point in time where the players are sitting there and there's like, okay, Baker maybe this shoulder is injured. You don't think that players are seeing the same thing that we're seeing? It's like, bro, just sit your ass down and let's get a backup in here and let us get a fair shot because clearly you're not getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at that point the question becomes, is an injured Baker Mayfield better than a non-injured Case Keenum? But to your point, you pay your backup $7 million a season. So if Baker's that hurt at that point, then, somebody's got to make the call to pull Baker and get Keenum in there at that point, depending on how bad the injury is. I can it's tough. I can really see both sides, but I just think it was a pride thing for Baker to want to be in there. And I also think to an extent, we've all been talking about it in the chat all night, how much did Stefanski say, hey, Baker, this is your team. You want this to be your team, right? Like, there's things that we don't see.
Behind the closed doors,
yep. What'd you say?
No, I was agreeing.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm saying is, if you don't think that there's things going on behind the scenes where Baker's got in the back of his head, the other point I was going to make to you was, I'm on my 5th-year option. I'm trying to get a contract. If I sit out, I'm losing money. But again, to this point, if that was in the back of his mind as well, he also hurt himself making money moving forward because, nobody's going to take a chance on him, based off the season he had this year. So it's like,
that's why it goes back to why I put the blame on coaching and all of this stuff, because it's like I 100% get why Baker was in. If I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm doing the same thing. I'm riding myself to the wheels fall off. But that should not be his call, whether he is the franchise quarterback. They clearly didn't think that he was the franchise quarterback, because if he was injured and your franchise quarterback has a labrum that's probably falling off and your offense is looking like that, they probably, I think you're going to protect your investment and just tell him to get the surgery and bounce, right? Like, we'll do it next year. If he was our franchise guy and they knew that he was our franchise guy, they would have shut him down and got his shoulder fixed. So if I'm Baker, I'm already, like you said, the contract situation, I got to think about that. I'm going to play because if I do succeed through this injury, I'm getting $40 million, period. So I feel like Baker was gambling on himself, but the coaching staff, Kevin Stefanski, watched him gamble himself away and watched us gamble away the season because they gambled on if he can get through that. And I blame that. You can't knock Baker for staying in there when he's on a contract year, trying to get his money and all of this stuff. You have to blame that on the coach. You got to be the bigger man and have some stones and say, look, I'm sorry, but it's just not working. We'll get you next year and we'll ride your 5th option next year. We'll give you that shot to earn your money. But this year, you got to get fixed. That goes on 100%. Coaching.
100%. I agree with you. I mean, listen, you were talking, I was telling you earlier, I started looking up stats and stuff. And as much as you're saying, you're going to put a lot of the blame on Stefanski and did Baker, how much, did Baker cost himself money? 2 stats really stuck out to me when I started doing research on this, bro. So Baker was 4th. I'm sorry, let me get the stat here. Baker was in the 4th quarter. Baker was last in QBR, completion percentage, and off target rate. That stat is damning to me. It's crazy. And the other one is, I'll leave it up to you to make a guess as to where Baker is going to finish this season QBR wise, and just the 5 names above him.
Well, because bro, I already know he was a bottom 3 quarterback this year. Let's just be honest.
The only people below him were Sam Darnold,
Henneke,
Trevor Lawrence, Davis Mills, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields. That's all you have to know. All rookies, except for Darnold, but Sam Darnold, a bust. So
I don't know. I just, so the real question comes in, like the thumbnail says, is this Baker's last game? Was that Baker's last game? Because he's not playing this Sunday. You got all of these question marks. You clearly see the friction, right? There's clearly friction going on between Baker and Stefanski. Somebody behind closed door is in love with Baker Mayfield. And I think Kevin Stefanski's on a leash right now. So was this Baker's last game?
I mean, if you're asking me from an outsider perspective, I'm gonna sit here and say that it was probably Baker's last game in a Browns uniform. I mean, I can't see a scenario where, like you prefaced earlier, I can't see a scenario where Stefanski keeps the play calling and Baker is back. Like something there is not gonna mix. You know what I mean? So it's either Stefanski gives up play calling and you guys bring back Baker on that 5th-year option and ride it out and change around some things, or you look for an upgrade, whether that's any number of things that we could probably talk about on a whole another episode that could go on in this offseason for you guys as far as either free agency or trades or potential there. But I don't see a scenario where, both of those things, like it's brought back the same way it was this year. I just don't think it's going to work.
I don't know. It's almost kind of feels like this is new territory for Browns fans, okay? Because we've never really had a power struggle. Like this is the first time I can, minus LeBron James, we all know that was a power struggle. He won it, obviously. But when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, this is the first time that we've had a real power struggle problem. And I think we're witnessing it right before our eyes. And I don't know if that's Jimmy and D having a stranglehold on Barry and Stefanski, or is that or where it is, but there's something that we won't never know, because for the first time in decades, the Browns organization actually keeps things close to home. So we'll never really understand what's going on. But I mean, like, who's the one that's calling the shots right now? Because it's a collective effort from everything that we know, the analytic group, from D. Podesta, Barry, Stefanski to Jimmy D and Haslam. Like, those are the main I guess you could say heads at the table, and I think they all collectively have the say. But like, who's the one that's really controlling the strings?
I mean, obviously, you have to think it's your GM. I mean, you have to think your GM is really going to be the one that's in control. But I don't see how you're going to let Stefanski go or potentially look for an upgrade there. I'm not saying Stefanski's the greatest coach, but coming off a season where, I mean, wasn't he coach of the year last year? I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, I don't see a way that you let Stefanski go necessarily, but I also see your point that, this GM, this is his quarterback pick. So it's kind of tough.
This isn't. See, that's the thing. This is not Barry's pick. Barry was here when Baker was drafted, but he wasn't anywhere. This was not his, I'm going to sign this. This is my guy. That's what I'm saying. So somebody is in love with Baker Mayfield. Is that Paul T. Podesta? Is that Jimmy D? Is that Jimmy D? Who is it? Because we clearly know it's not Stefanski. Is it Barry? Like, was Barry the one that was in that? Like, this is what we don't know. So who's, like, there's got to be, I don't know. Like, I think that's really the big question right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. But I mean, if you were going to ask me today, which one are you going to get rid of? I mean, I think that you're going to end up getting rid of the quarterback before the former coach of the year in this scenario. And I'm not saying that that's the right answer, because based on how we've seen Stefanski coach the past couple weeks, I mean, he doesn't like the coach of the year from last year. You know what I mean?
He looks like the worst. He looks like he's on his way out the door. Like, he looks like he's on his way out the door. That's why, okay, so from what you saw yesterday, do you think the players are bought into Stefanski, or do you think that they're just not bought into Baker? Like, which side of the fence? Because when Odell was traded, the locker room was divided, and I mentioned this yesterday when that clip of Baker Mayfield, when he's like, I need everything you got, put it all on the line today. That was the week that Odell was traded. Myles Garrett is the one that usually does those huddles, and Myles was on the Odell camp where he wanted to go. He said, "Nah, I want Baker to do it today." That was the beginning of the end for us. And which side of the fence are your key players on? There's so many bigger problems because if you lose Miles and you see Nick Chubb look a little frustrated on the sideline, if you lose those two guys, we're done. Period.
Well, that goes back to the whole thing. I was talking with a couple people that are in chat right now. I mean, that goes back to the whole conspiracy theory. Do you kind of think that Stefanski, to in effect, put all this pressure on Baker and put it on Baker's shoulders to have to, metaphorically and literally speaking, put it on Baker's shoulders to show the team that, like, hey, it's not me. Like, this is this the guy you want us to move forward with? I mean, it's really tough. I think that, obviously you're going to have Landry, who Odell's one of his best friends going back here. So there's going to be a divide.
I think Landry's gone. Landry hasn't spoken to them. They said it. Landry has not spoken to the media since Odell has been traded. The only time he's talked to the media was at his charity event. And when he was at his charity event, he did have that comment. I don't remember what the comment was, but it was a spicy comment that was like, ooh, really? So
yeah,
Landry's gone.
And I think, to your point, yeah, Landry's probably elsewhere. But to your point, you have to do everything you can to not, like, I don't want to say everything everything you can, but you got to keep Myles Garrett happy. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't mean to say, like, but he's that kind of a generational.
No, you have
pass
to.
rusher.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't have a choice.
And he was
what
mad.
I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, and when you watch Myles Garrett, like I said, you know me, I like to look to body language. I like to study people. Myles Garrett has that aura, like, flaring off him. You can see it. He knows he's that guy. He knows he's the baddest man on campus. He knows he has a say in what goes on now. Like, he has that pull. And every time I watch him, it's just like, he's just like, yeah, we're going to get this thing done. If we don't figure it out, I'm out this bit. Like, that's what it feels like. And I feel like this is a product of your coach. Like, this is what, they always say, who is your team? What kind of DNA do you have? Well, our DNA always seems to find a way to show itself. And our DNA went from being last year to being disciplined, accountable, everyone doing their job, to just now everybody's fighting for themselves. It's defense versus offense. It's my guy or your guy. Are you a coach's? Are you a Stefanski guy or a Baker guy? We're so divided from the fan base to the team that it's not, I feel like it's just a bigger problem than just, oh yeah, let's just plug in another quarterback and everything's going to go back together. No, I don't think that's just going to fix it.
I mean, winning fixes things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think when you're a player like Myles Garrett, you're going to turn around and say, okay, we were a playoff team last year. We fell short this year. If the team does enough to turn it around quickly, which at this point, like you said, there's a lot of question marks heading into next year for the Browns, especially with players coming off of short-term deals, potential of Landry no longer being here. Baker up in the air with the 1 year left on his contract. But I think to a player like Myles, if you guys could turn it around quickly, but part of turning it around quickly is next year bouncing back with Nick Chubb and your running game and making that the priority, unless you guys go out and get a superstar quarterback. Like, I'm talking like, whoever it is, a superstar quarterback. Then maybe you don't preface the run as much, but you got to come back next year and really put the ball in Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb was 7th in the league in rushing, and he was hurt all those weeks. Like, you got to give this man the ball if he's healthy. That's just,
like,
stating the obvious.
Right, exactly. And that's why I go back to the blame game and putting it on the coach. It's like, we're always talking about all of these things, and it's like, when you find out, it's like, okay, but why didn't it happen? It's like, well, Kevin Stefanski didn't call the plan plays for him to run the ball. It's like, there was a stat today that Bull read off on 92 Through the Fan, and he talked about the first 5 games of the season, or the first 10 games of the season. We were 8th in rushing attempts or something like that, which is really good. And then in the past, I think it was the last 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, either the last 5 or since Odell was gone, we have been the bottom 6. So we are the 6th worst rushing team in the league. So this is where I'm starting to say, it's like, this game that's being played inside of a game, It's Kevin Stefanski being that smart guy in the room, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna be a smart ass. You think you can run this team? You think you can carry us, Baker? You think you're this guy that you want to get your money? Okay, I'm gonna take the fall. I'm gonna do exactly what you want. I'm gonna play your game, and I'm gonna put the ball in your hands. Because for me, the more and more I think about it, I think that's what that is. It's like that kid that thinks they can always do it better, and then the person who actually can do it better had enough of hearing him yapping. It's like, okay, here, you do it then. And then the kid tries to go do it, and he realizes that he can't do it, and now the guy wins morally. I think that's what this is with Kevin Stefanski. It feels like one of those things where it's like, I'm going to prove this point. I know my job is basically secure, at least for one more year, so I can sacrifice this year. And let's go ahead. We're going to ride it with Baker. We're going to let Baker be Superman, and I'm going to show everybody that Baker can't freaking do it. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think that, take it from somebody who watched Adam Gase coach for 3 years on his team. You know what I mean? And that hurt me a little bit to say. Gave myself some indigestion, almost threw up. But that's what I was trying to say before, is that some of these coaches, man, they think, oh, it's my system, I'm going to run it my way. And I'm not saying that Stefanski is maybe to the point that like somebody like an Adam Gase was, where he's trying to force his system. Because I know Stefanski came from, correct me if I'm wrong, he came from Minnesota, which was before, I mean, they've always kind of had a high, they passed the ball a lot, even though they had Dalvin Cook, but there was a lot of throwing. But I would say, if you're disparaging, if you're telling your quarterback, hey, you're going to pass the ball 39 times and you're injured, and you're blatantly not running the ball, whether that's injury or not, based on the team you have, all you're doing is damaging the team internally. Like, the team knows that you guys should be running the ball at least 30 times a game. I mean, between all the backs you guys have, Hunt, Johnson,
like
there's no way.
Like, how come Jonathan Taylor can get 28 rushes? How come Derrick Henry can get 30 rushes? How come, like, all of these running backs can get all of these rushes, and we are just so damn allergic to it? Like, it blows my mind. Like, sure, okay, for instance, this is what blows, and this is another thing that grinds my gear with Stefanski, and Baker alluded to it when he talked about the in-game adjustments not being made. It's like, his football, he may be a good coach, he may have a smart IQ and all of that stuff, but his IQ in situational football is not the greatest, because we get it, bro. We've harped on it. It was against the Green Bay game where he ran it 3 times in a row and didn't pass it that one time where everyone knew they were going to run it. It's like, bro, why now do you do that? You had all these opportunities to flex your run game, and yet you want to do it in the dumbest time possible. We're not mad at you that you gave Chubb the ball, because that's what we wanted. But we don't want it in this situation. In this situation, it calls for a pass. Don't be that guy. And Kevin Stefanski has fallen so victim to that time and time and time again in situational football. And it's like that. I don't know if you either have that or you don't. And I don't know if Kevin Stefanski has the it when it comes to in-game adjustments. And that is going to be a problem when you go up against teams like the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Chiefs, the Patriots. I can go on and on. That when you get to teams like that who are well coached, on top of having a very excellent team, you are going to get crushed every time because you can't play situational football.
So let me flip around this question to you then, since you've been throwing some questions at me here and there. Is there a coach or an offensive coordinator or whatever, a defensive coordinator that you can think of right now that you would rather have coaching the Browns? And I'm not talking about one that's, locked up, like obviously whatever, Mike Tomlin, let's just say. Nothing like that. I'm talking about somebody who would potentially be done with their contract wherever they are, is looking for a head coaching job or something along those lines. Is there anybody you could think of right now that you think would run the team better than Stefanski off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, no, probably not, because I would have to, I would like to hear it. I'm not a guy that obviously knows stuff like that, but when I hear other people's opinions, I can start to put pieces together, and then I can visualize, okay, yeah, that might work here. But like, what I think is like, everyone thinks that I want Kevin Stefanski fired, and never once did I say he should be fired. But I do think we need to go in a different direction as far as play calling, and I think that I would love to have a guy like. Imagine having how is it you lose. If I told you, I lost my leading rusher Nick Chubb, my quarterback in Baker Mayfield has regressed a little bit. My receiving core was injured, and my defense was shaky in the beginning of the year. But yet we're still the number 1 seed in the AFC. What would that tell you? That tells you one thing, right? That you have a great coach. Could you imagine if we had a guy like Mike Vrabel as our coach? Like, give me something like that. A gritty guy. Like, there's just something about the neck. Mike Tomlin, Harbaugh, freaking even Kingsbury up to this point. He's done a good job, even though they're falling apart. I don't think that's necessarily on his end, but like, I'm talking about a guy that you can just be like, yeah, I'm going to put my confidence into him no matter what. And I thought Stefanski was that guy, but if you can't make in-game adjustments, I don't want it. So you ask me, what do I want? I just want somebody who is capable to have the just that, like, man, Greg Williams, Brick Boss, you're crazy for saying that, but I think we never should have let him go. That ship's long gone. But yeah, like a Greg Williams type guy, that wouldn't, someone who's going to be disciplined and hold your guys accountable. We need that right now.
Do you think Stefanski fell victim to, and I've seen a lot of coaches do this in the past, do you think he fell victim to, like you said, situational football before, but do you think he almost wasn't as aggressive as you would like him to be as a head coach?
No, because this is who he is. This is where I go back to the playoff game after they beat the Saints, and it's the same offense. The same thing that cost them that playoff game, bad in-game adjustments, terrible execution on offense. The offense looks slow. Everything looks sluggish. This is a product of our coach. We are a product of our environment. Our coach is our environment. He sets the standard, and the standard is what it is. This is exactly who he is. The shaky offense, like you said, they like to pass it a lot, even though they got good running backs. This is who he is as a coach. So I don't know if you can change that, because going back to Minnesota, this is what he showed. So it's not like this is all foreign territory where it's like, dang, Kevin Stefanski, yeah, he was the coach of the year last year. We just executed really well last year. There was no stands, no crowd in the stands. There was a lot of things that could go our way. When you're an analytic guy, you're going to be the most prepared guy in the room. So, of course, we exceeded in all expectations where other people couldn't, because we had the guys in place to do that. Now that the playing field's level, things are different. And I just think you are who you are, and Kevin Stefanski is who he is. So either you have to bring somebody in who can fit his mold, or he has to give up the play calling, period.
Right. I would agree with that. I think going back, circling this conversation back around to Baker, here's what I would say in regards to this relationship kind of, I think that Baker, obviously nobody's fooling themselves. Baker's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not he's not that, not that many people are, but he's not Joe Burrow. He's not Justin Herbert in stature or arm strength. But Baker's qualities are that he was highly accurate, and he was a gamer in college, obviously, and he's had some moments in the NFL where he showed you he's a gamer, he's gutsy. So I think you play into the play, or you coach into the player's strengths. So instead of having him drop back 39 times and try to make big plays, the smart thing to do would be to, again, like we said, run the ball upwards of 30 plus times a game, and then set Baker up with those really
easy,
high percentage, easy throws that are going to get, that Baker can make because he's accurate. You know what I mean? Like, you set him up for those easier throws. And then, you know what? If you're going to take a shot here and there because your running game is just dragging the other team down, then that's what you do. But you're not forcing Baker to throw the ball 40 times a game. He's not that guy. You know what I mean? And I just think Stefanski, I said it earlier, potential sabotage. Maybe he wanted somebody who wasn't Baker, a bigger arm. Maybe that's what he's looking for.
Kirk Cousins?
And that's kind of what he's doing,
You think he would take Cousins?
I think he would take Cousins. I mean, I'm not saying personally. I don't know if. I mean, I think that's a slight upgrade, but I still don't think Kirk Cousins is necessarily your answer. Kirk Cousins is a good enough quarterback.
Hey, let's be honest. Kirk Cousins has played top 10 quarterback football. I don't think we could say that about Baker. He was close to top 10. He was close. If we could, I'm just saying, the benefit that would come with Kirk Cousins, A, you're getting a veteran. B, you're getting a guy who knows Kevin Stefanski's offense. And C, you're getting a guy who, if need be, you could get you could go to Cousins and be like, okay, well, call a play. What we gonna do here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you can get that all the time, but I think it would be better than just a little bit of an upgrade. I think it would be a better upgrade, quite frankly. Like, I just came around to that though. I'm just new to this, so you can convince me otherwise and get me off the Cousins train because I'm freshly on this train. But I as of today, I'm on board with the Kirk Cousins if we could get him.
Okay, here's what I would say in regards to that, right? And I know obviously stats aren't everything, but Kirk Cousins QBR grades out as literally the middle of the pack quarterback in the NFL this year. Based on that, compared to where Baker was, obviously you look at it and say it's an upgrade. But I think you have to take into consideration, if you're going to get Kirk Cousins, does Kirk Cousins come with Jay Jettas, aka Justin Jefferson? Does he come with Adam Thielen? Does he come with Stephon Diggs in Kirk Cousins' first year in Minnesota? You guys have a great running game. Like, they have Dalvin Cook up there, but you guys have Nick Chubb. So, I mean, is what it is. But I think Kirk Cousins is surrounded by phenomenal talent at the wide receiver position. I'm not saying that boosts
But we
him to
wouldn't
be
need him to be
top 15
phenomenal at
quarterback.
throwing, though. That's the thing, though. With our offense, the way that we're set up and the way that we're structured, we have a great defense, we have a great run game, we have solid tight ends, and we have a young receiving core that if you plug in a veteran or two, Allen Robertson, someone along that caliber, you've got a pretty damn good offense. And I'm not gonna be like, yo, Kirk Cousins, I need you to come in here and be Superman. I need 4,500 yards. I need 33 touchdowns. Like, I'm not coming here I need you to come in here. I need you to run this offense the way that it needs to be ran. And if there's a time like these times where it's like, man, we just need Baker to come down and execute, that's what we need you for. The things that Baker couldn't do in these 7 games when we were down and we were in it the whole time and we had opportunities, but he's thrown interceptions or incomplete pass or whatever the case may be. If you can just come in and do that, I mean, we're a 10-win, 11, 12, 13-win team. Are we not?
No, that's fair. I can get on board with you there. I just do think that this is my opinion. I don't think that you could bring Kirk Cousins in without some because like you said before, Landry's kind of a little up in the air. I think you guys are potentially losing Njoku. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Man, I hope we don't.
Finish
I
me
hope
on
we
that.
get Hooper out
But
of here.
I'm just saying you have Hooper, but I think Njoku's a free agent if I'm not mistaken. So there's a potential you could lose him based on if somebody else can give him some type of money. So, in my opinion, if you were going to make a move like Kirk Cousins, to your point, you said it in your point. If you brought in like Allen Robinson that went with Kirk Cousins, I think that. But I also think an Allen Robinson would help Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm not vouching for Baker necessarily, but I'm just saying I don't necessarily see I see a bunch of people in chat saying Derek Carr. I mean, listen, Derek Carr, in my opinion, I don't love Derek Carr, but I think he's a substantial upgrade. Like, I would take Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins in the scenario just based on how they play.
Bro,
I think
Derek Carr has took the most dysfunctional team season and is still through all of it. Coach gone, star receiver gone, just bad story after bad story. And this man still has him at 9-7 with a shot to go to the playoffs. You asked me, that's a top 7 quarterback, top 8 quarterback. Like, that has to be.
Yeah, you give me that guy. Like, to me, that's a substantial upgrade over either Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield or whoever. Like, if that's a guy that you can get, then that's a guy that you talk. But
But see, here's the thing, though. Nobody wants to give up a first-round pick. I've asked a lot of Browns fans, would you be fine giving up a first-round pick? Because you're going to have to give up the first-round pick that's potentially pick 10 to 13 or 15 or wherever they're looking at to get. You would have to give that pick up for sure. So would you give up Baker? Let's just say it's probably going to be Baker packaged with a first-round pick, and I would probably say you got to go at minimum 4th-round pick, right? Like the bare minimum, like maybe talking 3rd round potentially, because Matt Stafford, What was the trade on them? They gave up 2 first rounders, a second and a third or something like that. So like
I can look it up.
what type of
Matt Stafford trade?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. It was 2 first round picks, a third, and Jared Goff to the Lions. So if you're talking about getting Derek Carr,
I
you're
think off
looking
the top
at
of my head, you're kind of right.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right
The
now.
Rams sent 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and Jared Goff to the Lions.
Right. So
for Stafford.
I mean, is Derek Carr better than Stafford?
I would think that Carr is probably going to cost you somewhere around that realm. Probably, I would think a first, maybe possibly 2 firsts. I'm not really 100% sure because usually those trades are not balanced. So probably 2 firsts, Baker, and a fourth. But you guys have an extra fourth. I think you guys have a fourth from the Lions this year, if I looked that up correctly. So you have an extra fourth, so you could throw something like that in.
We have,
but I mean, to me, listen, if you're the Browns and you have this roster and you can make a Derek Carr trade happen,
you got to do
and
it.
you can, still keep a majority of your picks to still surround him with talent, maybe bring in another receiver. That's a home run all day. I mean, I'd be all in on that move personally.
Okay, so if you bring in, oh damn, am I muted? Oh, I was muted. If you bring in Derek Carr, does Kevin Stefanski have to give up play calling?
Probably not.
If you bring in any quarterback, do you have to give up? Does he have to give up play calling? Probably not.
Probably not. If you bring in somebody with an arm like Derek Carr, or I'll even venture to say, I even think if you brought in somebody like a Kirk Cousins, I don't think Stefanski gives up play calling. No.
Would you rather have Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan?
I mean, Kirk, just based on age. I don't like either of them, though.
I don't know, bro.
I
don't know why people don't like Matt Ryan, bro.
No, I have a lot of respect for Matt Ryan, but I think Matt Ryan is towards the tail end. If it,
I think you could get a few good years out of Matt Ryan for cheap, and it would be beautiful here. I think it would be beautiful, and I don't like Matt Ryan one bit, but I think it would be beautiful. I think Matt Ryan.
You're getting a vet. He's 36.
Look, Matt Ryan's that one cougar that you look at and be like, man, she not that cute. Like, she not that. But then you get to know her and it's like, hold up. She low-key a vibe. You know what I'm saying? And you like, wait a minute. This might work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't the number one option. But look, I'm telling you, you put Matt Ryan with this offensive line. You put Matt Ryan with this defense. You put Matt Ryan with a conservative coach, he can go get you 400 yards. He can get you 300 yards. Look at the team that he has on offense, and he has their team 7-9. Are the Falcons anywhere near the roster that we have? Absolutely not.
Okay. I will give you this. Matt Ryan, in his tenure, has never had a good offensive line. If he went to the Browns, he would have the best offensive line he's had in front of him his entire career. 100%. It's not even close. And I think, to your point, you've kind of convinced me. Like, I don't love Matt Ryan, but he's got Cordell Patterson looking like a weapon. I mean, I would say Matt Ryan is an upgrade over Baker. How much? I don't know. Heading into his year 36, 37-year-old season,
He threw for. Let's look up Matt Ryan's stats for this year. Okay, he's thrown for 3,752 yards, 19 touchdowns, 11 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 91. He's had 4. He's had 4 games over 300 yards. And he's only had 1 game where he's thrown 3 picks. He's had 3 games where he's thrown 2 interceptions. So as of late, when it matters most, like where you want to play your best football, he's thrown 0 interceptions in the last 5 games, but only 3 touchdowns. But then again, I mean, his offense is just atrocious. He has no offense. So I'm telling you, it's like, do I love Matt Ryan? No, I don't want you guys thinking that I love Matt Ryan. Not at all. But I don't see how it doesn't work if you decided to bring in. Now I'm not saying he's your number one guy. Number one on my list is Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Number 2 is going to be Russell Wilson. Number 3 is going to be Deshaun Watson. Number 4 is going to be Derek Carr. Number 5 is probably going to be Kirk Cousins. Number 6 would be Matt Ryan. So Matt Ryan would obviously be the last resort. But if we got Matt Ryan, it's a home run in my book. I would say I would walk the bases on that one. Hello? Oh shit. I was muted. That's a rip.
I heard you. I put on your live
Okay.
while you were muted. It's all good. I heard what you were saying. I think Matt Ryan could be a turnaround. Let me ask you this. Let me turn since we're talking about quarterbacks and potential replacements. I'm curious to see what the chat has to say about this too.
They don't like it. Don't like it. Oh my fault.
I see some Jameis Winston in there.
Oh my.
I personally listen. I like Jameis Winston. I just think I don't know if that's the Sean Payton effect. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how much to credit Jameis. You know, he got his eyes corrected. Like maybe that stopped him from throwing 30 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Jameis Winston. I always think he's had talent, but he's a little bit of a head case. Let me ask you this. I'll turn it back around towards you. What would you be willing to give up? Seattle came to you the end of week 18 and said, what would you give us for Russell Wilson?
Whatever.
What would you give up?
Whatever they want.
What'd you give up?
I'm not telling
What'd you
you.
give
You
up?
can't have Chubb. You can't have Garrett.
How many firsts? 3 firsts for Russell?
Assuming Russell signs an extension and we have him for the rest of his career or at least 5 years, I'm giving up this year's first. I'll give up next year's first. I'll give up the first after that because they're not gonna be great picks. I'm giving up any first that they want, and I'll give them like a third or a fourth, and you can have a player. Like if the Seahawks came to you and said, hey, Russell wants to be here, and you do whatever. You do whatever to get him, period.
That's fair. I mean, I was going to say same thing. In your guys' case, based on where your team is, I'm willing to give up 2 to 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson, although nobody throws interceptions in the end zone quite like Russell Wilson. That's what I will say.
As long as we don't have Pete Carroll at quarterback, at coach, we should be fine.
That's a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you're giving him the best run game he's had since Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean?
And the best defense since the Legion of Boom.
And the best offensive line he's ever had in front of him, again, because he's never had a line in Seattle that could pass protect ever. So, that's my thought on that. I think, and let me ask you this, because since we still got the chat talking about whatever. Same situation, but I think I know your answer already. But same situation, assuming all legalities are cleared up. The house for Watson, same thing.
I'm giving the house. I'm giving the deed I'm giving him the car note. Whatever you need, you can have it. Because if you get that's the thing that people don't realize. And it's like they were talking about it today. They were like, how much would you be willing to give up for Aaron Rodgers? It's like, what is the goal here, people? Okay, like, do you want to just be relevant for the next decade? Or do you want to win a freaking Super Bowl? Do you want to win a Super Bowl? Because if Aaron Rodgers only was going to give us 3 years, you mean to tell me you wouldn't give up the damn house if he said, hey, I want to come to Cleveland and play. I'll bring Devontae Adams. Get me however you can. And a lot of people in Cleveland are like, no, I don't want to give up 3-4 first rounders. I don't want to give up 2 first rounders, 3 first rounders, a second and third. They're valuing these picks. And it's like their excuse is, well, after 3 years, we're going to be trash again. It's like, okay, but what if we win a Super Bowl or 2? Are we that's just being spoiled at this point? I want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that people don't seem to, maybe they do understand. I think if you're a real football fan, you understand. If you get a Deshaun Watson, that's a franchise-changing move. Like, you're set at quarterback for the next decade, assuming everything legally checks out with him, obviously. But you're set at QB for the next, decade plus, because I think he's only 25.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Daryl. He says, why are we giving up anything for guys who are free agents? See, this is the thing. This is the thing that no one's talking about. Everyone's talking about what the Browns can do, this and that. But what people are failing to realize, number one, no trade clauses. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers all have no trade clauses. So that's obstacle number one. Number two, guess who else is in the market for quarterbacks? A lot of people. And you know who else is in the market for quarterbacks? The Pittsburgh Steelers. If someone has an opportunity to say, hey, do you want to go play for Pittsburgh's organization or the Cleveland Browns organization? How many people are going to pick the Browns over Pittsburgh? Let's just be honest. So this is so much bigger and deeper than, just go get these guys, because guess what? Pittsburgh's going to be like, I'm going to go get this guy. Seattle's going to be like, if we lose Russell, I'm going to go get this guy. You got Washington who wants to go get a guy. You got so many teams who want to go out there and get a guy that you're not fighting by yourself. You got to fight a whole bunch of people to get who you want. So, prices are going to be a lot more higher than you need to, or like you say, or just spend the money. So it's a battle of who can get the quarterback first, really.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you're going to see, this could be one of those off seasons where you
Jason,
see
have a good night, bro.
a bunch of quarterbacks shifting going on. I think, off the top of my head, obviously, Aaron Rodgers' situation is going to play itself out. Watson's probably going to move if something happens. Wilson seems like, I don't know, it depends on who says it what day, but it seems like he wants out. And I think there's a bunch of big organizations, so to speak, that are going to be out here looking for quarterbacks. I think if you're the Browns, I mean, obviously, like you said, you're looking at, if you're a quarterback and you're going to tell them you're going to go to Pittsburgh, replace Ben, you kind of have it. You have a solid defense there, some weapons. You have Mike Tomlin, who is the longest tenured head coach, I think, currently.
I think he is right now, other than Harbaugh. It's either him or Harbaugh.
Yeah, so I mean,
Or
if you're going to sit
Belichick,
there
you
and
can't
look at the situation, I mean, obviously, you're probably going to say, I probably choose there, but I mean, I don't know. So let me ask you this, because this is interesting to me. I know that a bunch of people mentioned that because Watson's been linked to like everywhere, obviously, Miami, blah blah blah.
Miami is that
Let me
where
ask
he's
you
going to
this.
end up.
Let me ask you this. So hypothetically, the Deshaun Watson gets traded to the other team that I've heard him talked about the most, not the Dolphins, the Eagles. Do you think Jalen Hurts would be an upgrade over Baker? Shoot.
Wait, that's a thing?
It's been rumored. It's been potentially rumored, but I don't know, because Jalen Hurts is, I mean, he's right now. I think they're in the playoffs. So I personally think if they make some type of playoff noise at all, I don't think that the Eagles do it. But I'm curious because a lot of people don't like Hurts. I'm curious of what you think.
They would have to trade Hurts to Houston.
Not necessarily.
Houston's not just gonna not get a quarterback back in return.
The Eagles have like a bunch of firsts they could give up potentially.
But there's
But
no
probably,
guy.
I mean,
But
possibly, right?
who would you rather have, Hurts or one of the guys that's not great in the draft this year? So I mean, that doesn't. I don't think that rumor makes sense. But if Hurts became available, man, you better go get Hurts.
I like Jalen Hurts personally. I think he's a better quarterback than people let on.
Yeah, I mean, it's the stigma. It's, he's not the prototypical. He doesn't do things the way that people like the most. So, until he proves it, it's the same with Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson didn't win MVP, there would still be the same questions, because there's still the same questions now, but he has the MVP behind him, and that's what's saving Lamar.
Yeah. I would agree.
Well, this was a good episode. Hey, I hope everybody liked AA Ron, because AA Ron's gonna be locked into these podcasts pretty much every episode. We're actually gonna get him on video. Probably the next one. I think he's gonna work on trying to get that figured out and all set up, and I'm gonna try to figure it out too. But we'll get a visual of AA Ron, and I have fun, man. I appreciate you hopping on the show today.
Of course, man. I'm down. Like I told you, I mean, hopefully the chat liked the banter. I like this. I think we can make this like a little, we can make this a little backyard barbershop Browns talk type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in.
Yeah, definitely. Well, shoot, I mean, we gotta. I don't know if you do basketball at all too. We gonna talk some basketball too, because obviously the season's gonna be over. My Cavs are balling. We 5th seed in the Eastern Conference right now. We got a young superstar in the making in Evan Mobley. I'm talking about, Darius Garland coming into his own. JB Bickerstaff got the team, got randoms coming off the street, just looking good, this and that. And I mean, we gonna talk a lot of sports. We could talk about the Jets too, obviously, because hey, they almost beat. Matter of fact, before we leave, did you watch the game with where AB walked
so,
off?
so funny story. I turned on the game, even though I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't want people in the chat to think I'm like a fair weather fan, but sometimes it's really, really hard to watch Jets. You know what I'm saying? So I ran my little BS errands on Sunday and started doing a little food prep. And I turned on the game and I saw the Jets were up 24-10, and I was like,
Shitting
okay,
yourself.
I woke up. I woke up in bizarro world today. Something I don't know what's happening here. So so I turned the game on, and then the second I turned the game on, Brady scored a touchdown. So I was like, I'm gonna turn this off because we were winning. Because I'm that type of superstitious sports fan. So I was like, I'm turning this off. I turned it off, and then I peeked at my phone, and I saw the play where the Jets had the game 4th and 2, and they went for the first down that would have ended the game. And I was like, I was, I mean, a lot of Jeff fans gave me flack for it because they're like, oh, we wanted to lose. We want the draft pick. But like, I want to beat Tom Brady the same way you want to beat, Lamar Jackson. I hate that guy from when he was, from what he did to me for 20 years.
How about the guy going up to him after the game and telling him to sign his autograph ball or that he intercepted?
Yeah, I mean, it's soft. I mean, I get it. It's,
bro,
it's Tom Brady. You picked off Tom Brady.
Like, could you imagine doing that 20 years ago?
Years old, you know what I mean?
Could you imagine doing that 20 years ago in that era? They would take that ball and punt it in the stands.
Yeah, no, there's no way. There's no way. I mean, that kid, he's 23 years old. He's like a 22 or 23-year-old rookie, and he picked off Tom Brady. I mean, I get it. You want to commemorate, I picked off Tom Brady. He's probably gonna go put that ball in his trophy case in his house, with his high school trophies.
I would have, shoot.
But no, I agree with you. I mean, it's a different game now, man. A lot of people are just it's friendly. It's a different game. A lot of people were. I saw that Tom Brady went up to like Zach Wilson after the game and was like, oh, he hated Jets quarterbacks 10, 15 years ago. He wouldn't even talk to any of them. Now all of a sudden he's friendly with Zach Wilson. I don't know.
That's because he got freaking 17 Super Bowls. You can do what you want when you got 17 Super Bowls.
Yeah, But that's the story of me as a Jets fan. I keep my team at a friendly distance. I have hope for the future, but I've been saying that for my whole life. So we'll see.
We will see. So we'll be back on an we'll probably we got one more week. We got one more week. If anything crazy happens, we'll do a podcast before the game on Sunday. If anything drastic happens, but I don't think anything drastic is gonna happen. So you guys look forward to the Sunday live broadcast per usual. Ain't nothing changed on that end. And then we will do the post game after the game. Hopefully I'm not too tired. I'm sorry, guys. I've been tired these past couple days. You gotta excuse me. And we'll get that going. But I appreciate each and everyone tuning in today. Hey, Ron, I appreciate you for hopping on. We're gonna do it again. And we will catch,
yes, sir.
We will catch all you guys on the next episode of the CrocPot Podcast, y'all. Hey, much love, baby. Make sure you guys hit that like. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. And be on the look out for that giveaway, because we are doing a giveaway in honor of 1,000 subs. So I appreciate you guys. And